Well, hey there, this is Jerry. I'm bringing you another episode of What's Broke Today, and today I got a 2006 Chevrolet. It is a Silverado 3500 that he's been having to add power steering fluid to, and it was all nasty up here. So I've done when I actually sprayed a bunch of degreaser and up in here and down where I could on top here and pressure washed. And then I came inside because I mean it had so much crud, I mean, on the frame, and I still didn't get it all, but I mean it was oily and dirty from about, you know, here on the inner plastic all the way down, which more likely means I'm looking for a leak back near the hydro boost unit. But I was going to pull this plastic out so I can see better, because get this out of the way, which it's not that hard to take out. Get it out of the way so I can see better, and then fire it up and see if we can find our leak. Now in our Chevy truck, I did some degreasing. You can see where some of the frame's clean, and then where the plastic covered it, it's dirty. But I could have got by without doing that, because once I got up here and parked on the concrete and left it idling while I was taking the wheel off, it started dripping up there, you know, about where that pan's at. And so I got to looking, and where the steering shaft went into the gearbox, it was dripping right off at that connection. So to start out, since this is a Duramax truck, you know, I took the fender plastic out by taking out all the little clips and stuff around the inside. Then I had the wiring harness clip here, and then a couple over here I had to pop off. And you know, that little was up there with the axle vent. And then took the turbocharger pipe out so I get in there, and then it was, I think it's 11 millimeter. Yeah, ratchet with an 11 millimeter socket. I took out the bolt for the steering shaft, and then I just used my little pin popper to pry and push the shaft up off of the steering gear. But I started out by centering the steering wheel so the front wheels were, you know, headed straight ahead. And then I get in the truck, and even though the key's out, the wheel doesn't always lock. So I tie, with the wheels in the straight ahead position, I tie the steering wheel with the seat belt so it can't turn, and it's centered, because I don't want to get the clock spring in here too much one way or the other. So I tie that down, and then once I get the steering wheel tied down, it unbolted from the steering gear. I went down underneath where the drag link connected, pulled out the cotter pin, and used my 22 millimeter socket, and took the nut and loosened it up on the center link. And then I get out my ball joint and tie rod separator set and found the one that fit, and I wedged it in between the center link and the pitman arm. And you got to be careful, because I did just a little bit of damage to the boot, but I just drive it in there and it pops that joint apart. And now I can take the nut off, and then once I get that loose, you can come with that pipe out. You can come up in here and take your lines loose using an 18 millimeter wrench. Hold that up in there. But yeah, I mean, once you get up in here, it's real easy to unscrew those lines. And once I get the lines loose, I just took out the 3 bolts. Well, I took the 2 of them completely loose and loosened the 3rd one and laid underneath there, and took the 3rd one out by hand, and then basically just twist and lift the gearbox up off the center link and twist it and let it fall out in between the sway bar and the front of the truck. And the only thing you got to take off here in the front to get it out of there is that goofy plastic shield that's mounted up underneath the front here. But to get that out of the way and to get the gearbox out, and then once I get the gearbox out, and then of course I already got the new one because I come out here and went to work and forgot to bring the camera. But I just use my impact, take the nut and the washer off of the pitman arm, and then where the pitman arm's on here like so, I got my bearing separator with the bar. I just loosen up, put it around there. Actually ends up something about like that underneath the pitman arm. So about like that, and I can put on there and then tighten this down and whack it with the hammer and pop that right off there. And then part of it holding off, I actually went and got the part after I took it off, because it gives you an option of a 32 or 33 spline shaft coming out, and whether you got 3 or 4 flats. And so far every one of these I've ever done has had 3 flats. So we got that. And now looking at this gearbox, see, it goes in the truck like this, and I got my the 2 flats on the steering shaft, which I need to clean some paint off there before I put that down on there, because they got the paint so thick I doubt that the shaft will slide down over that. But it's got a half moon cut in there where the bolt goes down through the steering shaft for the pinch joint. And I'm going to guess that, even though I have a cat helping me here, that the gearbox is fairly centered up, because when I put my pitman arm on where it should be in the center, it lines up. Otherwise, if there's any doubt in that, I just take an adjustable wrench on the flats and turn it lock to lock and count the turns, divide it in half and turn it halfway to line it up, and of course put that back up on there, the nut up on there, and now I'm gonna shut this off. Now I shut the camera off and zoomed out because, see, I got the cat here helping me, and this goes for both of them, Trouble and Ash, that it is so goofy that I can take impact gun, put it on there, and the cat didn't stay right here with me, but she didn't go very far. She's basically behind the camera back there. And of course, I don't think I had exactly the right size socket. But come here, Ash. I did all that, and she's back. Her brother is sitting over there in the chair. Now, he didn't even move. But have a limb fall and hit the carport or the roof of the barn, and these things flinch and jump, like you think something's going to eat them alive, but yet I can use these power tools and make all kinds of noise. And yeah, they may move, but they don't go scamper and hide. I mean, I could probably, start the riding mower and take them on the mower with me and they'd ride around. But they just want to be out here and help me. There you go, Ash. So, get that wiped off, and then I'll get things ready and we'll start going back together. As a tidbit, another thing I do before I stick this up there, talking about the paint up here on the shaft, sometimes they get these threads clogged with paint, so I run one of the bolts down through the hole. If I can turn it by hand, then we're in good shape. But sometimes they get so much paint on it that it locks up, so make sure that the threaded holes and the threads are in good shape, because you don't want to be up there trying to hold this gearbox up and start a bolt and then it won't start in the threads. And I'm just going to take my pocket knife and scrape the shaft there a little, and when I come back we'll be stuffing that up in the hole. Okay, now I can't have the camera right here, but the hardest part getting this back in is getting it up through the hole, and then make sure you hit the hole in the drag link back there, which once I get crawled underneath there, it'll be easier for me to see it. But yeah, it's up there somewhere. Yeah, so to get the gearbox lined up, once you get it stuck in the drag link, that makes it easier to lift it up, move it around to get it back up on the bolt, or get the bolts back in. So it's, I don't know. I think I'm going to see if I can put this on the other side. But, okay, so we'll put the Petman arm up kind of by the hose so we can get up over the sway bar and up in the hole. Like so, and of course the hose still gets in the way. There we go. Because that's a tight fit between the hoses and the everything. Get it up there where I can start. Push that out of the way. Turn that where I can get that vertical, like so. Now I'm going to switch directions. I just basically turned around so I could see better. But it's almost like bench pressing, because I got to get the gearbox, push it up, and while you're doing this, the lines are in the way and it's hitting the fan shroud. What looks like should be so easy isn't that easy. Well, once you get it around there kind of close, where it can fall down in the drag link, that helps a lot. Then I'll reach up, make sure I got the lines pulled up and they're not binding. Now I'll take my first bolt and okay, here we go. I got the first bolt started. Now see if it looks like I got close enough for the second one to start. Okay, so I got 2 of them started. Move tools out of the way. I want to make sure I don't have my lines in any kind of a bind, because then there we go. Okay, so I got my lines, and you notice once I get my lines where they're not in the bind, then that works better. Then we can take our gun and okay, get those tight. I'll go ahead and take my nut for my drag line. Yeah, let's wipe it off. Everything's so nasty and oily from the leak. So wipe that off and I can get it started. If I can wedge my camera up here where you can see and it not fall through. Now, when I bought the new steering gear, it came with new O-rings to go on these lines. So get down in here and wipe them off the nuts and the pipes. I was going to use my thumbnail and peel off that O-ring, and then we'll do the same thing and wipe this down. We don't want to introduce any new dirt in if we don't have to. Yes, I'll get my knife out because fingernail ain't grabbing that one. Okay, we'll flip off that O-ring. Get it out of the way. I'll wipe the end of the pipe. Now I'll grab my new O-ring. Put over the end of the pipe. Like so. Now I'll grab my other new O-ring. This one I can lift up higher, which helps. And at this point I can lift that up and I'll take the plug out. And get that down in the gear, and once you got it started, very carefully turn it with the wrench. And we get the one tight, then we can check, make sure we didn't get a bunch of dirt on the end of the line. Then take out the other plug. And over and get her lined up. Down in the hole. Okay, make sure they're both good and tight. Then I can move this light, grab my steering shaft. You know, say my steering wheel shaft wasn't quite lined up. I needed to turn it a little, so I went up and undid the seat belt off the steering wheel so I could turn the shaft. Because without jacking up the wheels, I wasn't going to be able to turn the steering shaft to get it where I needed it. And where you hear me hitting was there's a bolt on the steering column up higher that I can peck on to slide that shaft down. And then I can take my bolt, find the hole, okay. Once we get that there, then I can put my socket on it. Now I'll reach up and force the steering wheel and turn it a little bit to the right. Alright. Now I can tighten this up. Okay, see that, yeah, so we've got our lines tightened up, our steering shaft on. The next thing I'm actually do is stick the turbo pipe back up through its, up through there. And this really isn't that bad to stick up through there, just a matter of fishing it up through there and getting it up in and then turning it. It'll slide right up there like so. And then my clamp down here, wipe that boot off a little. I'll put it up over the pipe. And just slide that back together. And then come up top and clamp and slide the top back together. Put the clamp back up on there and the pipe all the way together. I'll tighten the top one. And this one, where it was pushing up, straight up and down, of course these turbo pipes, we want to make sure we got them all the way together and these clamps on there right, so when he takes off down the road and starts building boost, we don't want him to pop off. Then last checks with the wrench. So, okay, and with all that put back together, all I got left is to tighten my pitman arm nut onto the drag link. Put our plastic back in the inner fender. Of course, bolt his running boards back up and fill her with fluid. Yeah, I got the plastic back in, and you know, it's got all kinds of these little push pins, like 1, 2, 3, 7 or 8 of them, and then of course these guys running board screws go through it. Wheel back on, I got it full of fluid, run it. I think I got all the air purged out. I'm actually going to let it set overnight and then go drive it tomorrow, but I didn't see any leaks now, so that's a good thing. And got the plastic shield put back up underneath the front, so we're going to call this one good. Well, I'm going to wrap up this episode with the 2006 Chevrolet truck. That power steering leak fixed with the new power steering gear. Got everything bolted back together, tightened up, and ready to go. So I'll say always appreciate that thumbs up for a like. Thank you to all my subscribers, and always looking to having more. So anybody that wants to join in, you're more than welcome. That come on in and watch, and I'll say stay tuned, because don't tell them what else you're going to see on What's Broke Today. Thank you.